I want to not have a line here, because even if I started out with a line, if I leave that, it's going to show through this fur, because I have light and dark and in between values and whatever, and it's almost impossible to get rid of that outline. So as soon as I can, I start coming in and I use a stroke that is my tapered stroke, but this is where I do something a little bit different. Let's go ahead and get this little worksheet here. Maybe I can make it a little larger. It speeds it up. It helps me to have something other than something very specific like rows. We don't want to do that. We don't want to hit the pavement and go kerplunk. We still want our tapered stroke, but you know it's always harder at the beginning to have that tapered stroke, and so I like to not just have rows, because I get down to the next one, I'm going to be doing this, and then I'm going to get, and this is what we have a tendency to do when we're filling in spaces. So I want it to be a little bit more random, although I know that we have darker patterns in here and we want to be able to capture those. But there's a wonderful randomness, just enough to help break it up. We can see that there's obviously different coloration stripes, but there are also variations in it that help us realize that it's not solid and that it is with fur. So this is what I do. And I just am saying this because I don't want you to say, well, okay, this is the stroke that Darrel does. I do a tapered stroke, but when I'm sketching, I don't always do this compass stroke. This compass stroke is great for precision, for being able to build gradations, to be able to have that precise placement of your pencil. And so then I have control over the amount of time I'm lingering and also the pressure, because there's a maximum pressure that I use. I don't want to have a line leading the way, so I'm going to be careful to gradually fade it away from that leading edge, because I want it to be a contour, something that's going around and out of our sight, instead of being a coloring book version where we have that dark line dominating everything. So this is good. With that compass stroke, we can accomplish so much. And when you're working towards the highlight and you're creating contour and gradations and getting close to an edge and fading it away, this is just a wonderful stroke to use. But I still can accomplish a tapered stroke for some other purposes that's a little bit more random and natural, like for fur. I wouldn't do it probably on hair for a human. I can see where there might be some exceptions, but I do a rocking motion sometimes. And this means that sometimes I can change the direction. If I was going to do my normal tapered stroke, I would land softly, have a taper. I don't know whether you can see that. I hope you can. I'll try to do it larger. Sometimes it's hard to convert it over just for the sake of showing. But I still want my taper. But I might have to change directions. So I want to be able to practice that I have hair going a number of directions. I want to be able to still land in a way that helps me to have something other than that blunt end. I don't want this kerplunk, or I'm never going to be able to suggest that it's really that thinner edge, that pointed edge that is so, it's at least the way it appears to the end of each hair. When I'm doing eyebrows or eyelashes or any of those things too, I want to make sure that I have a tapered end. It just comes across a lot better. But I'm going to vary the directions. So you'll see that in this case, I'm going to go both directions, so that I am actually going up and I'm tapering it away and I have a chance to rock, and I go different directions. I want there to be some uniformity and something that makes sense and it works. But I hope you can kind of see how I'm able now, if this was reduced down, to create that hairy edge of the fur. This is what I want to be able to do with something like this. So I want to position this thing still in a way that I can have more of a natural flow, but I'm going to come in here and I'm possibly going to be going like this as well as this, and some of them straight. And I don't want it to be chaos. Think of it again with a flow, with something that has that flow and grace to it. Otherwise, you can get locked into, just doing, we don't want to do X's. We want to have something that looks quite a bit nicer and more graceful and flowing than that. Something that's natural. It comes on a live animal. And so these are opportunities for us now to still use a taper. So this is the practice. If you can come in there and still see the taper, the lighter of each end, and the more intense part in the middle. It's not that you have to try too hard to make that intense part, but it helps it give that range of value that helps it fade away at the other end. Just like our normal tapered stroke. We have two thin ends. And it will help you adapt, and it'll give the illusion of many of the things we're trying to achieve.